This is the New Eden update for Monday, March 14th, 2016. I'm Wiggles, and here's a roundup of a few stories from around New Eden. First off today, we start at the Mittani.com with a report of the Imperium losing an R64 moon. On March 11th, Imperium forces answered the call to defend a reinforced R64 in the Lone Trek system of Harkonnen. The 260 billion ISK engagement occurred just 2 days after a nearly 500 billion ISK brawl in the same system. During the fight on March 9th, forces from Voltron assaulted the R64 and in turn destroyed 3 CO2 Titans, as well as successfully pushed the tower into reinforce mode. In an attempt to save the high value moon, the Imperium set a massive fleet, but it would ultimately be beaten in a gunfight. The Imperium sent a 710 pilots fleet to defend the timer, fielding several massive Machariel and T3 strategic cruiser fleets with support from dreadnoughts and at least 30 stealth bombers. Voltron and friends brought 699 fighters to the cause, attacking with over 350 Machariels, Maelstroms and Rocks, supported by 4 carriers and 10 stealth bombers. Defending forces would eventually be pushed too far by the heavy gunfire and incoming bombs from the combined Voltron fleet, and would be forced to flee the system, leaving the R64 open to attack. Abandoning the tower, the Imperium forces retreated home while Voltron successfully destroyed and took the moon in total. In total, the Imperium lost 151.2 billion ISK in the form of 185 battleships and nearly 2 dozen T3 strategic cruisers, while the aggressors took 108 billion.1 ISK in damage, losing over just 100 battleships. The Imperium lost both the strategic objective and the ISK war for the second time in a row in the system of Harkonnen. Now that the R64 is in the hands of Voltron, will the Imperium make its move to take back the tower? As far as server and game issues go, this was probably the first time of a non-reinforced T3 node was used in such a large-scale fight, and CCP should have loads of data to go over and analyse. Time dilation was present in the fight, but with very little lag was noted during the fight. A camera bug was mentioned, however, by several players. Our only other post today is from Crossing Zebras and is about power projection and balkanization. For anyone who has kept up with the patch notes in the last year, they'll be quite familiar with the fact that CCP has made some pretty big changes for the ability of players to move through space. Some of these changes have been fairly well received, others less so. But what exactly is the fundamental aim and goal we want to quite examine where we approach, and talking about one's ability to travel from system to system. Quite a few different approaches have been suggested, mostly discussing large-scale mobility and the nebulous concept of power projection, or the ability for an alliance to exert influence that extends beyond its technical soft-based borders. Over the course of the past year and a half, we have received multiple changes that have both directly and indirectly altered the power projection of New Eden. In late 2014, jump fatigue was introduced, working to prevent large blobs of supercapitals or subcapitals support if launched from a Titan bridge from arbitrarily teleporting across the map. The mechanics of the fatigue were tweaked in order to explicitly limit the effective range of the capital force while leaving logistics such as freighters and raw calls relatively unscathed. A completely non-balkanized Eve would be incredibly boring. Smaller alliance perpetuating local conflicts between each other and creates enormous amounts of content for their line members, as well as generating fights when they attack, or are attacked, by larger alliances. Yet, by the same token, a completely balkanized Eve leaves little room for deployment and larger non-regional conflicts to unfold, while balancing the game mechanics to permit for these conflicts of enormous variations of scale is far from easy. Attempting to stray too far into one extremes creates several disadvantages for the other. The promise that Citadels will be based around EHP rather than the Entosis link suggests that we are moving towards the latter. While I would prefer this option, it does become tricky because mechanics must be balanced to permit SOV holders to deploy, yet also not so heavily SOV defended favouring that when they return to the Dominion paradigm. On a positive note, the enormous numbers of possibilities that the new Citadel expansion and whatever comes should make relatively easy to iterate. In a reliable time frame, in my next article, we shall discuss how the sovereignty and structure mechanics become necessary to balance said power projection. Currently, there's nothing new on the news front from Eve News 24, but another episode of Bob's Corner. Elsewhere in E-related content today, new blog posts are out from Wilhelm Arcturus and Noisy Gamer. New podcasts are out from Occludus, Space Nerds and the Biomass Crew. Plex prices today in the Forge region are registering an average traded price of 1,138,000,000 ISK so far today, which is on par from yesterday's closing average. The top buy order right now is 1,131,000,000 and sell orders are starting at 1,141,000,000. Skill extractors are trading at 263 million ISK so far today, which is on par from yesterday's closing average, with buy orders for those starting at 260 mil and sell orders starting at 263. Skill injectors, on the other hand, are trading at 613 million ISK, which is up slightly from yesterday's closing average of 610 million ISK so far. Buy orders for those are starting at 607 and sell orders are starting at 614. Thank you to everyone who has chosen to support this show and decided they get a little bit of value back and decided to give some to our Patreon campaign. You can do the same if you want to. Go to patreon.com/wiggles to find out all the ways to support there. However, I do understand not everyone can support monetarily. There is another way. You can tell your friends. You can tell your courtmates. You could even tell this glass of water. Yes, glass of water, you can support on Patreon too. It can't really, it's an inanimate object and it's just H2O. But if you get my drift, you can tell people. Just tell them about the show, tag 3 friends in social media and say, hey, have you listened to the New Eden update? It's out there. You can find out about every single way to help and support us at newedenupdate.com/support. We broadcast live on Twitch and on YouTube. We make it available afterwards in video form and in podcast form, obviously, as you're probably listening to this, or you may be watching this. So, if you like us, give us a review on iTunes. 5 stars, great. 1 star, great. If you like us as well, comment on the YouTube video down there somewhere. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like. It's all good. Our email address is feedback@newedenupdate.com. You can leave comments in the show blog, which is newedenupdate.com, or you can tweet us at newedenupdate. I also encourage you to check out all the latest headlines you can find, which is also including all the latest podcasts, blog posts, the Reddit posts, the dev posts, everything from the forums, everything new. You can find that over at totaleve.com. This has been the New Eden Update for Monday, March 14th, 2016. I'm Wiggles, and we will be back tomorrow. Thank you for listening.